All right, and welcome back to the League of Superfans. Today, we're talking Jets with Rob from the Random Jets Fan channel. Rob, good to have you. How you doing today?
Joe, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. Happy to be back. Happy to talk some Jets and finally some positivity for once around this team. So I'm happy to be here and talk about it.
Yeah, fortunately for you, it's a good time being a Jets fan. As a Dolphins
Yes, sir.
fan, I never like to see a good time in Jets fans' lives.
Hey, that's on the same way, man. Pats and Dolphins, I could care less.
But today we're going to be talking the future of the Jets, whether it's trending up or down. We're going to go over the top free agent targets and players that you think need to be on their way out of New York. That being said, we'll get right into it. And the Jets' future, Rob, are they trending up or
It's
down? I think this is an easy one.
it's it's an easy one, man. It's up for the simple reason that whoever we get at quarterback, whoever's going to be under center in 2023 is going to be better than who was under center in 2022. I know the big names are, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. Some people like Jimmy G. Lamar Jackson, is that the wild card? Is he actually going to be on the move? Doesn't matter who it is, it's going to be better than anything we had in 2022. So that mixed with having the offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, top five defense, I think it's trending up for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think this was only the third time in the history of the league one team's had the offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
Yes, sir. Only a third time.
I'm jealous. Miami had the three picks a couple years ago. Not looking so good on some of those guys.
It's okay. Believe me, being a Jets fan, I know all about it. Purgatory. Sometimes you're there for a little while.
What do you think about the coach? Is he on the hot seat this year if they don't do well?
Yeah, I mean, Salah and Douglas, they're both on the hot seat. That's why there's such an emphasis on getting a veteran quarterback in there, someone who's done it, someone who's been in the league, has run offenses efficiently. I think even with Woody coming out and saying that's the missing piece. Last year, that was definitely the missing piece. That mixed with terrible play calls by LaFleur and a shoddy offensive system. Uh, that's the missing piece. This quarterback. So yeah, I think so, man.
All right. Well, players that you think need to be on their way out of New York. What do you think?
There's a couple. So I'm also going to mix in guys that also they need to renegotiate the contract, restructure our contract. But to go for sure, Dwayne Brown, I know he might be tough to get rid of. He has a good chunk of money guaranteed this year. Um, you know, Thank you for your efforts. I know you played hurt. You're going to be 39 or 40 this season. If I was the Jets, if I was JD, I would kind of look at the money's guaranteed after a post June 1 cut. Um, it says here it's about $5 million. It's 4.9 million. I would tell them, if you retire, you basically give up the contract that you have for us this year. We'll give you that $5 million under the table. No hit against the cap. Thank you again. Thank you for your services. But it's just time to go a different direction. You saw last year that Mekhi Becton still can't stay healthy. George Fant got hurt. Dwayne Brown got hurt. Went through about 5 or 6 tackles. So with that in mind, that you're gonna be looking for tackle help. You're not gonna be relying on Becton and Fant and all these other guys. So to clear some of the space to bring in some of these guys, I would, Dwayne Brown, thank you. Corey Davis, he's a nice piece when he's healthy. But I mean, when he's healthy, that's the big issue. And just he's always good for 2 or 3 or even 4 crucial drops throughout the year. Save about $11 million there. Thank you for your service. Jordan Whitehead, he was brought in to, cover these tight ends and be a nice box safety. Just too many whiff tackles this year. Couldn't cover. Gave up a few big touchdowns during the year. You can bring me on the team. I'll do the same thing for the same amount of money. I'll give up touchdowns and and whiff on tackles if you want. You can go cheaper there. Jordan Whitehead, you save about 10 million bucks there. I'm sorry, about 8 million bucks there. Braxton Berrios, he had the really good season 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 seasons ago. He was an all-pro punt returner, kick returner. This past season, I don't know what happened. He just too many punts and kicks that he let go over his head and get down inside the 20. For whatever reason, after that Minnesota game, it just looked like he had the yips and he couldn't do anything. He never really even got in the receiver rotation, even with injuries. So, he saved about 5 million bucks there. Now for restructures, you have to restructure CJ Mosley. He's a nice linebacker. He's a nice middle linebacker. He's the leader of that defense, but there's nothing to justify a $21 million cap hit. I think if you go to him and say, look, we want you here. We want you to retire as a Jet. You're a great leader. You've seen what this defense does. We're going to bring in more pieces. We want you to be that leader still. Would you take would you take X amount of dollars? Would you work with us on restructuring contract? I think he would, especially being in the latter years of his career. I don't think he knows he can still get more money with the Jets than he could if he was cut and signed somewhere else. Laken Tomlinson, another one that I don't think you can't really move on for him. Either way, you're going to eat cap pretty much the whole salary. Again, he was brought in because he was a Pro Bowl left guard and he was known as a big mauler, road grader, and you saw way too many times he just got blown up at the line and pushed into the backfield. I think kind of same thing. He understands the situation. You go to him like, hey, obviously we need to upgrade this offensive line. We want to bring in these pieces. We want to go after this quarterback. We need you to take that pay cut, whatever it is, maybe convert a bunch of money into a signing bonus or something. Carl Lawson, I think, is kind of a tricky one. I think there's he's 15 million against the cap. Did he do anything to really warrant being almost 16 million against the cap? Not really. I think he's one that you restructure. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, he could be a cap casualty. I don't see it. I think he gets the pressures. The pressures are there. He's among the league leaders and, pressures and quarterback hits, getting to the quarterback, just never really finishing that sack. But if you watch the Jets, Jets games, consistently, you see almost every play he's being held, horse collar, everything else. For whatever reason, the Jets bias lives on. The Jets don't get calls. That's not really an excuse, but I think he's a good leader on that defense. I think he can do a really good job at teaching up Jermaine Johnson and other guys in that line. So I think you find a way to restructure him too. I think he'll do it. Again, with how much he can make on the Jets, I think he knows he can't really go somewhere else and be justified making as much money as he can on the Jets. That's really all I got for who needs to go right now.
All right, well, that's a good list of guys. Heading into free agency, what's your cap situation looking like?
It is not great. As of right now, per over the cap, we are about $264,000 over the cap. But you cut some of these guys, you restructure deals, you can free up close to about $40 million. So I mean, the cap situation right now, I'm not really worried about it. Douglas has shown a really good.
Yeah, you guys will be able to. You'll have flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. And let's admit the cap is fake. Every year the Saints start off 80 million over the cap. Every year Green Bay starts over 80 million over the cap, 60 million over cap, whatever it is, and they still have cap space somehow. So it's fake. It can be manipulated. I'm not really worried about it right now.
Well, that being said, what's your top free agent targets this year with free agency on the horizon coming up next month? Who are you guys looking at? I think it obviously all starts with the quarterback position.
Yeah, start with the quarterback. Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is like saying earlier, is it Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, is Lamar Jackson the dark horse that's gonna, a team's gonna be able to pry away from Baltimore? I was on the Aaron Rodgers train up until the whole night therapy thing he's doing. When he went on the Pat McAfee show, I think it was yesterday before he went into that whatever it is he's going on to. I was expecting him to at least say, yes, I plan on playing next season. Where that is, for how much, for what team, that'll be decided at a later time. But right now, yes, I'm committed to playing. It seems like between him and the Packers, it's just kind of, who flinches first. Both have too much pride to, go before the other. But to me, Aaron Rodgers, he's a weird guy. We all know he's a weird guy. But just the fact that, and we all know he's going to play. He has way too much guaranteed money on the line to not play. So for him to just not come out and say, yeah, I'm going to play with who, I don't know, but I'm going to play. The Jets need somebody right now who's going to be all in. They don't need somebody who, if Aaron Rodgers decides, yeah, I'm going to play, and he gets traded to the Jets, next offseason, he goes into another retreat for a month because, he's got to evaluate his soul or whatever he's doing this for now. And then, next season, free agency comes around. It's like, well, do we need to go look after a quarterback? Do we need to look at drafting someone? Just that unsurety is just, I think that it's just too much of a headache right now. Look, if the Jets got him, I'm not going to be upset at all. But I think right now, if Derek Carr wants to come here, just go get Derek Carr. Just go get Derek Carr because
you can get him today.
I mean, even me being a Jets, Webin,
you can get him today. He was cut, so
exactly.
You can sign him today.
I mean, like I said, it all depends if he wants to come here. If he doesn't want to come here, well, then there's nothing you can do. But, it's even me being a Jets fan, I think Aaron Rodgers, he'll play for another 2 years to get that money. Are you going to win a championship next year with him? Probably not. And then, you still have the Chiefs in front of you, the Bengals, teams like that. With Derek Carr, you can have him for 4 or 5 years. You're going to get into the playoffs with Derek Carr. So you have more opportunity to, you can draft the quarterback, in the middle of his contract to kind of build up a little bit and see what happens there. And then you can reevaluate the market once his contract is expiring. But Lamar Jackson, I don't know. I don't think the Jets are giving up 3 firsts, 2 seconds, whatever it's going to take to get him and then guarantee him $250 million or whatever it is. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's really many teams that would do that just because there aren't a lot of teams that are in a position to be only a quarterback away and say, okay, I'll give up all these assets for this one quarterback, guarantee all the money. I just don't see a lot of that. But moving past the quarterbacks, like I said before, Jordan Whitehead, I want him gone. So I think bringing in somebody like Jordan Poyer, Von Bell, to really have that veteran presence and be a leader in the backfield, really set up that backfield nice. I think that'd be great to have. You have to load up on O-line this year, whether it's in the draft, free agency, both. I would go both. Some tackles I'm looking at is maybe like a Mike McGlinchey or Juwan Taylor, or even a Caleb McGarry for that right side to compete with Max Mitchell. I mean, if you bring in McGlinchey, he'll probably be the starter. I think for, left tackle, if Aaron Rodgers comes here, I'm not sure, and you keep your first round this year, I'm not so sure the Jets go offensive tackle, left tackle with their first pick, number 13 overall. Me personally, I might even consider doing something kind of like what the Bengals did. They had the opportunity to draft Penei Sewell, but instead they went and got Jamar Chase, and then they had a 3-headed monster at receiver, and it gave Burrow a lot of weapons. So I would look to bring in somebody like an Andre Dillard, somebody that he's familiar with. You can, get him for a few $1,000,000. He's not going to break the bank. Have him compete with Becton for the left side. Becton wins out, great. If not, well, then you have somebody with experience who's, can be middle of the pack at tackle, and you got him on a cheap deal. Center. Also, I think McGovern's gone. I would like to retain him, but the thing is, I think he's going to be the best center in the market, so you might just get into a bidding war and overpay for him. So I would look at, if you're not going the draft route, I would look at someone like Ethan Posick from the Browns, or Garrett Bradbury from the Vikings. Posick, I think, would fit this offense really nice. He's a big mauler. His run blocking grade is top 5, I think, in NFL. So with Hackett wanting to run a really balanced offense and have a really good running game, I think that would be really nice. I would bring back Nate Herbig as a backup guard. You can probably get him for like 2 years, $4 million, something along those lines. I would look to upgrade the linebacker position. I would personally rather bring back Quan Alexander over Quincy Williams. Quincy Williams, another one, just too many missed tackles. He's really boomer bust, and I think he's just going to cost too much for what he offers. Quan, you're going to have to give him a little bit bigger of a contract, maybe like a 3-year, $9 million contract, something like that. Give him a little more guaranteed money. Or I would look at someone like a Leighton Vander Esch, who has had injuries in the past, but this past season he looked to stay pretty healthy and can be a solid option going forward. So right now, those are probably my free agents I would look at right now before heading to the draft.
All right. Well, sounds good. You guys, I think you guys are close. So, you could be a quarterback away from competing, and, not to say you're going to win the Super Bowl, but nobody expected the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl, 2 years ago.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah, exactly.
they did. You guys, your offense is there, your defense is solid. So you get that quarterback, who knows what can happen next year.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's obviously the biggest thing right now. Doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what else happens for us in the off season. If we don't get that quarterback position right this year, then people will lose. Let's be honest, people are losing their jobs and everything else. So I mean, the quarterback position, they have to get it right this offseason. That's really all that matters. They just need to get it right for once.
All right. Well, let everyone know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, sure. My Twitter @random_JetsFan. Also on YouTube, theRandom Jets Fan. You can find me on there. Those are my 2 social media sites right now.
All right. And guys, be on the lookout for the Ultimate Superfan Challenge. It's going to be starting soon. Free agency picks up in March. So those forms will be due a week or 3 days prior to the start of the legal tampering period, which I believe is around March 15th or March 12th, something like that.
Yeah, March 15th.
But yeah, check out the Ultimate Superfan Challenge and Free Agent Frenzy, and look for us next time. Later.